Friendly reminder to rate, like, subscribe, and follow Teach Me Good wherever you listen to podcasts. Pretty please. It helps us out a lot. Okay. Now that you've done that, go check out our Patreon where we're trying to save up to talk to Tony Hawk via Cameo. Plus you get lots of perks like a mug. And exclusive episodes. Love you. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Teach Me Good podcast with your host Art Kai. Soon you'll hear from him and his friend Fernando, and later they'll talk to a special guest who will teach them about something. Not everything will be accurate, but hey, we're all just trying our best out here. Yeehaw! Enjoy.
Alright, hey guys. Hey.
What's
Hey.
Can you hear me eating Chinese food?
I didn't know. I could not actually. I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
give us some lip smacks. Oh god, we're gonna hate that. I'm gonna edit that out. That's terrible. Speaking of food, we're talking about Dinosaur BBQ. Dinosaur BBQ is a place that started in Syracuse, but it's pretty popular in New York City, right?
I mean, pretty popular. Yeah. I don't know the numbers that they do, but they have multiple locations in New York City.
Well, they were like a big thing, at least a few years ago. People were like, yo, Dinosaur BBQ's here. It's the best barbecue place in New York City.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm from Syracuse, so, I've heard of it, but I feel like I'm biased.
Have you ever been to Dallas barbecue?
In New York City or in Dallas?
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that one's pretty good. But I also don't
Wow.
eat meat,
It's a
so
hot
I feel
take.
like I might be the worst person to ask.
Yeah, what are you going to eat at Dino Barbecue if you're not eating meat?
Well, I'm going to go to another place. We're going to two food places. I'm going to go to a place that has Impossible Burgers.
Oh, which are pretty good.
They're quite good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Is it better than Beyond, you think?
Yeah.
Torin, when's the last time you ate meat?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember, but I've had it. Like, I had steak at Isabel's aunt and uncle's house because her uncle made steak. I'm not gonna.
How was it?
Okay.
Pretty good. Yeah.
So you
good.
eat. You're mostly vegetarian, but you eat meat occasionally.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say I'm vegetarian. I'd just say I rarely eat meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll do it for the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You commit to the bit, and people thought it was funny. Did her uncle know that you don't eat meat?
Yeah. It's funny because the other day there's an awesome place. Speaking of great food places, called Chick Magnet in Rochester, and they do
It's a problematic name.
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway. So,
Fernando's like, nope,
completely
it's fine.
So, yeah, exactly. So they have. Well, maybe this is problematic. They have all of their sandwiches. Like the sassy chick, which is
okay.
Little spicy sauce, and then the smoky chick, which is what I get, which is barbecue sauce. But they do what they call a no chick, which doesn't have chicken. It has tofu, and they fry the tofu extremely well. But then her uncle was ordering me dinner, and he saw my text message where I said no chick, but he's like, well, that's got to be a mistake. Like, obviously you want the chicken. So then I get there, and they're like, we thought it was for you, and we know that you don't do chicken. Yeah. So here, just give us like 2 minutes, and we'll make you the no chick.
Wow.
So then I got a chick and a no chick. And I just gave the chick to the...
Your life is just full of chaos. I can't keep up sometimes. Yeah. It's just always a sitcom-esque.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Seinfeld?
Fallacy.
It's kind of like that.
We actually run a show called Jerry Seinfeld Presents. It's actually every Sunday at 7:30.
Jerry Seinfeld Presents, yeah. Jerry Seinfeld Presents every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. at Black Cat LES.
It's free. Come hang.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing our own...
Support the bar.
I feel like we're doing our own ad. Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, do you like comedy? Do you like going out? Well, we have a great show for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how podcasts do that, do their ads, and we're doing our own ads.
Anyways, you know what I really like, Art? You know what I really enjoy?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Is like the safety of boats as they pull into ports. That's what I really, really enjoy. I really love a boat that is able to safely pull into a port
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, if you guys also love boats pulling into port, use code SAFETY. Safety Teach Me Good for 10% off your next admission to the Boston Lighthouse, which is actually who we're talking to today, the keeper of the Boston Lighthouse.
Yeah. Talk about a chick magnet. A fucking watching a lighthouse.
Well, she
There's
is.
No way you're not cleaning up.
Here's the thing, guys. She's a chick. She's she's the first like official U.S. like woman lighthouse keeper that is like on the payroll, is in the logs as like this is the lighthouse keeper of this lighthouse in the United States.
Does she live? I'm so curious.
Me too. I honestly there's an article about her. I skimmed it. She has a long history with it.
What year is it from?
Like it's from 2020 because she was talking about how COVID affected the operations of the lighthouse.
Really interesting.
I didn't read the details.
The glass ceiling.
Of what? Oh, of
it's
lighthouse
made out of a
keeping.
light bulb. Yeah.
I think of journalism. I was like, yeah I guess.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know people kept lighthouses. So I didn't know.
Yeah.
There's people that watch over them.
Well, apparently a lot of it's like automatic now because they don't really need a.
That's what I mean. Like once we got rid of candles, I figured.
Yeah. Well, she does do stuff. I don't want to spoil what she does. I know a little bit what she does because I skimmed the article. I wasn't sure what she's up to. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was a legit lighthouse. She's a legit lighthouse keeper. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So that's fun. Isn't that crazy? Apparently, like women have always like worked at lighthouses because their husbands were there and stuff.
Okay.
But there's there's many women who worked at many lighthouses, but this is like apparently she's the first like official on the payroll, like recognized woman lighthouse keeper in the United States, like ever, apparently. Yeah. Which may be wrong. Honestly, I could just be missing a part of the story, but
I want her to be like, no, there's a lot of women. I want her to be like, it's mostly women that watch lighthouses. Right?
Yeah, watch lighthouses. I think it's an interesting job because it must be so lonely to like work on a lighthouse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And have you guys seen the movie The Lighthouse?
No, I've never seen it.
It's an incredible movie.
It's
I
great.
love that movie.
But it's about loneliness. It's one of the major themes, loneliness.
I just don't relate to that.
Yeah, I think that you just saw in the movie what you wanted to see, what you were feeling.
Wow.
What would you
we
say
saw
the
it
movie's
together,
about, Torn?
didn't we?
Torn, what would you say the movie's about?
No, loneliness is a pretty good theme. Also madness, just going nuts.
Yeah, it's got some gay themes, which is fun.
No.
No?
Are you really seeing what you want to see in the thing?
Am I projecting my own thoughts about sexuality?
Yeah.
Maybe. That's a whole other pod. That's a Patreon. Guys, if you want a good Patreon, sign up for our Patreon. Teach me. I'm just doing ads. We're doing ads all day for this intro.
Anyways, let's get into dates. I will be at...
I'll be at Killarney last week.
I was at Killarney last week. You missed that. But don't worry. There are more date.
There are more
April
dates?
26th at Our Wicked Lady in Bushwick. Please pull through. We would love to have you.
Yeah, we have a big show on Sunday.
Also, remember to follow me at OakcliffDaddy on Instagram. I post all of my future date there as well.
Yeah, your future dates. Your date.
No,
one date.
It's future date. I'm
That's
very
funny.
clear not to pronounce the S.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Oh.
It's a bitter non-pronunciation. I don't know if you hear that. It's hard to bitterly not pronounce a letter.
Yeah.
But
Date. Emphasis on the lack of the S.
Yeah. Date. Singular.
I wonder what the Lighthouse Keeper does for fun. Like, what does she do on her? Does she do a lot of reading? You think? What does the Lighthouse Keeper do for fun? I guess it's a pretty busy job, right? Like, does she have a weekend off where she can catch us on our comedy adventures?
I'm sure she does.
Can she come see the Jerry Seinfeld Presents show?
Is she
Should
the
we
only
fly
one that
her
watches
in?
it? Like, is it not shifts?
I have no idea. This is why we need to talk to her. I don't know how it works.
Let's
I think
get
the
into
modern
it,
day. I think the modern day Lighthouse
into
is different, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should talk to her. Let's just keep speculating, actually. Guys, get excited. Give it up. Start clapping right now. Start clapping. Give it up for I don't know. She's not my friend. I don't know if she's my friend, but she seems cool. She seems really nice. I offered to pay her. She was like, as a person who works for basically the Parks Foundation, I don't feel comfortable taking payment. That seemed like a nice thing to do, right?
Is that a bribe?
Wait, what feels like a nice thing to do? Offer money or reject it?
I think reject the money,
That's very nice.
but also offering money. This is also nice.
You're very nice, Art.
Thank you. This is why I do this, just for validation that people think I'm nice. You guys enjoy this talk with a lady lighthouse keeper, Sally Snowman.
I said, you make no sense at all.
All right, and Sally, can you read that thing I just sent you?
Hi, my name is Sally Snowman, and I'm going to teach Art and Fernando about keeping a lighthouse because they are constantly getting lost.
Ooh, terrible sense of direction.
Yeah, I think just like emotionally, I'm always lost. I think that the idea of a lighthouse is just so both like physically and emotionally poignant. The symbolism. It's so good.
Lighthouse.
Sally, thanks for doing this. I'm so excited to talk to you. Are you technically the first woman lighthouse keeper in the United States? Is that like a thing?
No, what I am is the first female lighthouse keeper at Boston Light.
Okay.
Which was the first established light station in colonial America. So I'm the 70th keeper, and the first 69 were all men.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So
That's
there have
great.
been other lighthouse keepers in the United States that have been women.
Yes, in fact, back in the Revolutionary War, here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the husband, who was also a doctor, went off to war and left his wife behind to tend the light, and he died in the war. So she is officially the first female keeper, and that was in 1776.
Wow, I got my facts so wrong.
Yeah.
This is what happens though. I just like I read the headline and I skip like 5 words, and I'm like, all right, she's the first women lighthouse keeper ever in the world, in the universe. But either way, I think that's so cool.
It's amazing.
That's amazing. The 70th, the first one. What's wrong with the Boston Lighthouse? Why did it take so long? What happened?
Well, that's a good question. But a better question is, well, it was first established in 1716.
Okay.
And so, as I said, there were 69 keepers, and then for me. And what happened is that I'm a civilian, that I work for the Coast Guard. So I don't wear the Coast Guard uniform. I'm not law enforcement or anything like that. Yeah. And what tipped the table on that was because of 9/11. And the Coast Guard needed to have those 3 active duty that were living on this 1.5 acre island near the harbor to do military type things. Yeah. So the Coast Guard did a national search, and I got the job because I'm also a Coast Guard auxiliarist. I'm a volunteer for the Coast Guard. And my husband and I got married out at Boston Light in 1994. And then we were able to start watchstanding, being assistant keepers, volunteer keepers with the active duty out there. And we both love history. So we embarked on a 5-year project to find everything we could about Boston Light and wrote a book. And then the National Park Congress established the Boston Harbor Islands National and State Park in 1996. And the island and the peninsulas that make up that, one of them was Little Booster Island of Boston Light. So that congressional law said that the Coast Guard has to permit at least somewhat during the summer season access to the public. As an auxiliarist, I was asked by the Coast Guard if I could recruit auxiliarists to help train them to be tour guides to augment the park ranger when they came out to give the tours.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
And so we gave them, my husband and I gave them a draft of our Boston Light book so that they could, study up on that.
Got it.
And then,
cool.
Then what happened is after 9/11, the Coast Guard had it they decided to civilianize the position. Because I was already doing volunteer work out there. When they did the interviews, I came up on top. But what I think is
Wow.
but I think what's interesting is that I was a college professor and was like, what do I know about facilities management? Yes, I can handle 80,
Yeah.
80 volunteers during the summer for day duty, but that.
Yeah.
So
Get the work.
it
Yeah.
was taking on that job.
Mm.
And the other piece of that was because of 9/11, the Coast Guard was looking to do a stewardship transfer of the island. So it was supposed to be a temp job for about a year and a half to 2 years. I'm in my 19th year.
Whoa.
So I think the
Dang.
longest federal temp job.
Yeah. Ever.
Yeah. Did you assume you would go back to teaching? Like, did you assume you would do this job for 2 years and then go back to being a professor? Or
Well, the thing is, the intent was to go back.
Yeah.
But after 4 years on the island, I knew I couldn't go back to that. I was an island girl. I was.
Yeah. You're settled.
Yeah.
loved it.
It's funny. So you're still a temp employee? They need to get you a salary position.
No, I jokingly say that.
Okay.
No, she's raking in the millions, Art.
Yeah. It's a very stable position that you're in. You're tenured, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, I had 4 years because I've been with the college for 17 years. That I could take 4 years leave of absence.
Like a sabbatical.
But I knew within the third year I wasn't going to go back there.
Yeah.
If the job disappeared, I don't know what I would do.
Dang. What do you teach?
I'm a learning disability specialist by trade.
Oh, okay.
And the college that I worked for here in the Boston area, College, they were the first ones that were a 4-year liberal arts college that accommodated for individuals with learning differences. And I am one of those individuals.
Nice.
So I decided to major in it and got so I have a PhD in psycholinguistics, which is how the brain functions, how it operates, how it processes information.
Yeah.
And then I developed curriculum on teaching teachers how to teach to a wide, diverse classroom. You know, you're in the third grade and you have all sorts of abilities and what have you. How do you teach to all of them? How do you meet all their needs?
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. I was teaching teachers how to teach.
Got it. Yeah. Some pedagogy, pedagogical practice. I like it. Interesting. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about lighthouse stuff. Get that. You know, I'm glad you brought up the 9/11 things. I feel like it's cool that at least one good thing came out of 9/11, and that is you becoming. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Hot take. No. So what are your duties on the lighthouse? What do you do? What is your day to day?
Well, because we're in this transfer process where the Coast Guard's looking for another owner, I'm not living out there anymore, but I used to live 5.5 months out of the year, mid-May into October. So I'm going to talk about what that was like for the 18 years that I did that. Yeah. And how I feel landlocked right now, how that has affected me.
Yeah.
So what would happen is when on the island, I was the paid keeper and I had a gaggle of Coast Guard auxiliary volunteers that I trained as assistant keepers. And would rotate Wednesday to Sunday or Sunday to Wednesday. And some of the auxiliaries, they were the rookies. They wanted to do the maintenance work, mowing the lawn, painting the fences and then that. And others wanted to be the tour guide. So it was interesting to see the personalities, which ones signed up for what.
Yeah.
And so our routine for the day is we'd be up by 6:45.
Okay.
And would do rounds. We'd walk around the island, climb the tower, go into the buildings, check to make things okie dokie. And then we'd come back, and that's when we would, have breakfast, and we'd sit at the kitchen table and come up with a work list for the day. So I know for the week what I would like to have to do, but being volunteers, they had choices. Because some like doing the gardening and some like doing the painting and some likes cleaning the interior of the tower. And
so cool.
And because the day just unfolded when we were doing Monday through Thursday with tours on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So let's talk about that Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the day would unfold, and how we would keep time is we would record the weather every 3 hours. So we do it at 7 10, 1 until 7 o'clock at night. And that was the timekeeper. So that's how we couldn't go. And for me, that the whole day revolved on the on that
Checking the
weather
weather.
thing.
Yeah, the weather
so
thing,
that
yeah.
we could check in too to see what else was happening. I'm one of these people that would just work straight out all day, forget to drink water, forget to eat. So,
Obsessive. You love it. You love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. And one of my favoriteest things to do is at the top of the tower is a 9-foot crystal. It is what rotates right now. This is happening. It's sending out a 2 million candle power beam out to Massachusetts Bay.
Wow.
Awesome.
And that has been there since 1859.
Wow.
Do you know how far that reaches? Like how far away you can see it from?
Well, it has to do with the ship's helm.
Okay.
So they did like an average ship's helm, and they say you can see it for 27 miles.
Wow.
What?
But
That's incredible.
we know it's more than that, because I'm going to digress here.
Mhm.
There's something called Flying Santa, and Flying Santa delivers gifts to the Lighthouse Keepers in current day Coast Guard active duty personnel and their children. I got to be the elf the year before I became the keeper. And we had run all the way down to the Cape. We were coming back to go to the airport that was north of Boston, and we were inland. And I looked out the right-hand side of the helicopter, and I saw this 10-second flash. And I said to the pilot, "Is that what I think it is? That's Boston Light." We were 45 miles inland, and we could see that flash.
Wow.
So I don't know
So
what
cool.
the distance is, because when you're on the water, you're at the, that would be considered your horizon, that flat wall. And the earth is round.
Right.
Yes.
For sure.
So you're going to, but when we were up above that, whatever
you
it
can
was,
see
1,000 feet or something.
down. Yeah.
And that, even now I'm talking about it, I can see it in my third eye. And you could have knocked me over with a feather.
That's incredible.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what you worked on the crystal? Like you worked on
Yes,
painting
it needs to be cleaned.
Okay.
And
Of course.
there's 336 individual prisms.
Whoa.
Oh my
And
God.
so I meditate, and I'll chant or hum,
Oh.
and
Clean.
I'll just come one with that lens. And it has all it's the prisms.
Yeah.
They're three-sided. So there's 336 prisms times 3. So we have to clean off all 3 sides.
Oh
And then
God.
people say, well, how does it get dirty or dusty? Well, it's just dust. It's just the atmospheric
the atmosphere,
piece.
Wind.
And when we were having tours out there, and the visitors were climbing up the 76 spiral stairs and the 2 ladders into the lantern room, that would raise the dust and things like that.
People coming through. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, since we haven't had tours since 2018, it not anywhere is as dirty. It doesn't need to be cleaned as frequently.
Yeah.
And then the question is, how do you clean something that's 163 years old?
Yeah.
Well, very carefully.
Yeah. Of course.
And it's with we use distilled water.
Okay.
And white vinegar, and that's the way we did it back in the bygone days. And that's how we do it today.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is it? When is it from again?
It's distilled water with white vinegar.
No, what year is it from? Is the crystal from?
It was installed it was first lit in 1859.
Wow.
That is cool.
So what happens is the 21st century technology and 19th century technology, they don't connect all the time. So unfortunately, it frequently stops. And the Coast Guard Aids to Navigation team goes out there and, piddles with it and gets the motor, the 1-horse motor engine rotating
Yeah.
4,000 pounds of glass and brass.
Wow.
What? That's crazy.
I was just about to ask, so you don't do any of the actual engineering on it? Do you just like sit there and like let's say something breaks on the lighthouse? You're not the one that fixes it, or?
No, it's totally automated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now I hate to say this, there's nobody out there. I
Yeah.
mean, there's the seagulls and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animals.
So, and if the light goes off, because it's the closest landmass is just a mile away.
Okay.
And of course, because it goes for 27 miles, the ships that come in and out of harbor, they will literally call the Coast Guard and say, hey, the light's out. And then the Coast Guard has an aids to navigation team that maintained over 50,000 aids to navigation nationwide.
Wow.
Boston Light just being one of them.
Yeah.
So they will come out and see what the hiccup was. Sometimes it's just a reset.
That makes sense.
So it has been automated since 1998.
That makes sense.
Okay.
You don't need anybody living out there. It's all done on its own. The reason why it's still manned is there's a congressional law that says because it was the first established light station in colonial America, it shall remain manned.
Okay.
And
There's a
now
law.
I jokingly say woman.
Yeah, women. Someone's got to be there at all times. It's
So is every other lighthouse in the country not like has nobody at it? They're completely automated and standalone?
Okay, so what's happening? Yes, it's the only one. It's still considered manned by the federal government because I'm still the keeper and I'm still responsible for it, although I'm not living there anymore, which is a real interesting thing. But another piece of my job is I'm the historian. So I've done a number of media things. So because I just love talking about it. And of course, you don't see that.
Right. Like doing this podcast. That's one of your duties. Am I right? That's interesting. So you lived there for what's it like living there?
I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I was gonna say the overwhelming question.
Okay, let's go back to my childhood.
Great.
When I was younger, when I was 10 years old, my dad was in the Coast Guard Auxiliary as well, and he was high up on the food chain. And he made arrangements to have the auxiliarists do a rendezvous. By the way, the auxiliarists are the volunteers for the Coast Guard. We don't get paid, but we support them.
Sure.
And so my dad arranged for the auxiliarists that had boats in the area to anchor off the island, row onto the beach, and tour the island. So when we went out there, went from our powerboat into the dinghy, we landed on the cobbled beach. I stepped off on the beach and I looked up at the light and said, Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to get married out here. And I did. And I did.
Wow.
That's awesome. Dreams come true. That's
And
awesome.
so that's when my love affair of Boston Light began.
Yeah.
And I always sort of dreamed about, gee, what would it like to be a keeper? And I would read a lot of, I love reading and reading about maritime history and shipwrecks and lighthouses and all of that.
So cool.
And so I've been in the auxiliary for 46 years now.
Yeah.
And so when my husband, when I got married to Jay, there was no any impropriety. As a volunteer, I couldn't go and volunteer because I was female. But once I was married and there was no impropriety, then that's how Jay and I started volunteering out there.
Nice.
And when I was 10, I didn't get to climb the tower. Dang. So I got to climb it on our first watch, going up the 76 spiral stairs, tight spiral.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then and it's just shy of 90 feet tall.
Wow.
And I'm not big on heights.
Yeah.
But I started walking up that spiral staircase with no fear.
Yeah.
I went up the ladder into the gear room, the ladder
so excited
to the lantern room,
and
then I went outside on the deck of the gallery.
Yeah.
No fear.
Wow.
And I said to Jay, I feel I've done this 1,000 times before.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
your
what?
calling.
So what Jay and I did in 5 years of research, we found out that well, we knew that the light was extinguished during the Revolutionary War. The British blew it up because it was British owned, and they said, if we can't have it, we're not going to let the Revolutionaries have it. And they blew it up way out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So after the Revolution, in 1780, the light was remanned by a keeper named Thomas Knox. And he had a wife. We knew he had 2 kids, and they had more. Her name, we found out her name was Content.
Okay.
Whenever I was reading that in the archives, I have these white gloves on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, this airtight room type of thing.
Yeah.
So, very valuable documents. And I said to Jay, I'm a reincarnated Content.
Yeah.
I was just so
You felt
content
it.
out there.
Yeah.
And that's what made it hard to think about going back to teaching on the mainland. It's
Doing
like,
anything
once
else.
I had that experience, I just like bonded with it.
Aw.
And I've always been an outdoor girl. I've always loved boats and the ocean. And I jokingly say I have salt water in my veins and not blood. I just want to be on the water all
You're
day.
basically a mermaid, is what you're trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was one of those too.
Yeah, probably. Back in the day. They still exist, right? They're still around.
So
Yeah.
and so one of the things that is fascinating to me personally is that we as humans are beacon of lights, that we are lighthouses ourselves. And I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I'm connected to the cosmos and the planet and the ethers and everything like that.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I was learning in my yoga classes that to become a teacher was that concept is that we are lighthouses, we are beacons. And I've to myself and close friends, I've mentioned that they think that's a little woo-woo and don't want to hear that. But since the incident in the Ukraine, they interviewed a woman who is a lighthouse keeper in the Ukraine, and she did a podcast, and she actually said that we are all beacons of light, and please shine light on the Ukraine. So now something that I've been, yapping about for, 20 years now has now turned into mainstream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And
You called it. That's amazing. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
I think like even metaphorically speaking, that's just how people work. We're all just sort of kind of out here, like shining light, guiding the path for people to come through. I love that. Even on a spiritual level, on a metaphorical level, it's nice. It's a nice, warm, wholesome message that you're like existing in, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're all energy. We're all energy. So we have auras.
Yeah.
So when we
Like a lighthouse.
do our meditation, we are literally taking our heart space and sending that light out, like the beams of that 2 million candle power.
Yeah.
And that's what I visualize when I'm doing my meditations. And when I'm out of the light at night, I'll sit outside at the top of the tower, leaning up against the window glass of this 9-foot crystal, and just imagining being that 2 million candle power.
God, that's so great. So how long did you live there for? Did you live there, right? Like on the island?
Yeah, 5 months a year.
Okay.
And that started in 2003 to 2015.
Okay.
So that was 16 years that I did that.
It was just you and your husband just living out there?
No, because we have to have at least one other person with me.
Okay.
And my husband had his own job on the mainland. So he used to come out on weekends.
Got it.
Then when he retired, he would come out for a few days, occasionally a week.
Yeah.
But he likes going back to the mainland.
Sure.
On another digression, when we had the volunteers, coming in and off the island during the season, there was some of them that said an 1.5 acre island is about the size of a football a football field.
Okay.
Okay.
And the water's all around us. I mean,
Sure.
there are ships, cargo ships
Yeah.
that travel the seas of the world
Oh, sure.
that are bigger than Little Booster Island.
That's so weird to think about. I believe
And
it though.
so if somebody's not used to having that water all around them,
Mm-hmm.
they were saying they were getting disoriented by it.
Yeah.
So they do the Sunday, the Wednesday, just because by that third day,
Yeah.
they needed to
Like
get
reset.
grounded back
Yeah.
on the mainland.
Did you ever feel that way? Did you ever feel like you're disoriented in any way?
I never had that. So when the auxiliaries were explaining that to me, it was
You were like,
a foreign thing.
what?
Yeah.
That's funny. Was it ever like scary living out there for 5 months out of the year?
Well, now that's getting into another story because
I'm excited.
because basically I'm a scaredy cat.
Okay.
I have a lot of trepidation.
Okay.
Put me on a boat, put me on an island, and I'm fearless.
Wow.
It's an odd thing. And people say, like, when there was a few times we got caught in storms out there, we
Yeah.
used to do watches during the winter.
Uh-huh.
However, the storms, as you know, the climate change and everything like that,
Sure.
it was, we had delays of being able to change out the crew because of the storms. And being civilian, the Coast Guard said, you just should not be out there. So they just stopped the winter watches that
Right.
were required.
Yeah.
And so when we were caught out in those storms, it was electrifying for me. I'd be in the house going to window, taking pictures and
What? That's so
and-
fun.
and as the waves hit the back of the house and laying in the bed, it felt like a vibrator bed.
Yeah.
And the
So it's
person
fun
I
for
was
you.
standing to watch with, if they got a little nervous because I was just being so fun about it, it was
Yeah.
such an adventure.
Yeah.
So then people say, well, weren't you afraid that something would happen and you'd end up in the water and you would drown? And I'm there, you know what? That's the way I want to go.
Huh.
That's the way I want to go.
That's
And
yeah,
so
it's your death
it's-
wish.
it's
Put
not
me in the water. Send me off. That's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like for me personally, I would find it to be very scary and also alone. Were you lonely ever?
No, again, it's my personality.
Mhm.
I have the personality of a lighthouse keeper. It takes a certain personality to do it.
What is a personality? Just someone who likes more introverted, more just like
Someone
Obsessive,
that can
mechanical.
deal with the mundane. You know, just every day, do the rounds every day,
Yeah.
cleaning. And so when auxiliaries were requiring, what do they do on watch? I say lighthouse keeping duty
duties.
because it's on an island, and so it's real easy to get cobwebs and things that
Sure.
that collect in the
Collect.
buildings that don't have heat, like the cistern building and the boathouse and the generator room.
Yeah.
And because we were having guests on the island every week, we would just spend the week clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're busy. You're staying busy. You're doing stuff.
Yeah, but
Good
you
time
get
to
a
be lonely.
rhythm. You get a
Yeah.
rhythm. It's just a slow
Meditative.
thing, and you watch the airplane that's going to go
Come
land.
through.
The
Yeah.
building airport. It's just it's laid back. I never
Yeah.
really thought I had to take a break per se.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have a water bottle with me, and
Huh.
so you get into the rhythm of the island.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
Is
so
it-
when I came back on the mainland, that was with disassociation. That was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I stayed on the island, 2 weeks or longer. So I hadn't been in a car for 2 weeks. And then
Wow.
now I have trees. There were no trees on the island.
Oh,
And
wow.
so you're driving down the road and you have
Just
all
like,
these shadows and everything. And it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't have that on
This is
the
too
island.
much.
Yeah. How often would you go, like, while you were keeping the lighthouse? How often would you go back onto the mainland to go like grocery shopping or to get like utility, like just toiletries and stuff like that?
Well, because my husband was the one that liked going to the island, at least to the mainland, a couple of days a week after he was retired, he would do all that. He'd take
Nice.
the bills, bring the bills out to the island. I'd have the checkbook. I'd write them
Yeah.
And then
Ah.
if an auxiliary.
So you never left. You never left ever. You loved it there.
You loved
Yeah.
it.
The
Yeah.
longest I was out there for any given time is 7 weeks.
Wow. That's a long time. Dang.
And that didn't count taking our boat into the Coast Guard base for me to check Coast Guard emails and just say hi to my supervisor. That didn't count. I mean, it was just 20 minutes, half hour at the base, and I'd go back to the island again.
Was that normal? Has that always been? I'm assuming in the past it's like people like lived out there for years on end, right?
Yeah. Well, if we go back to the early times, like 1716.
Yeah.
That the keepers there, because it was a colonial America, it was still with the British. That there wasn't any length of time. It was when the keeper either died.
Yeah.
Like the first two, they drowned.
Really?
Oh,
The
wow.
first two keepers of the wow.
Yeah, the first keeper from 1716 to 1718 had a wife and children on the island, and he went into Boston to get his pay, and his wife and one of the daughters enslaved, and a friend that had a sailboat. So they sailed. They took the dinghy from the island, and then went into Boston, got the pay. They came back, anchored the sailboat, got in the dinghy, and from the sailboat to the pier, the boat capsized and they all died. And the other daughter with a friend on the pier witnessed it and couldn't do anything.
Dang.
So then they got a replacement, and the replacement died within 3 days of that.
How?
Jeez.
How did they die?
Drowned.
Same way, boat into the pier.
Actually, there's no history on that. Just that he drowned too.
I think they're probably still alive. To be honest, I think they're still out there somewhere. You faked his death.
So as it was a family lighthouse station until 1960, and they wanted the family because there was so much work to do.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And
maintenance.
And the 1920s and 1930s. Now this is a 1.5 acre island.
Yeah.
They had a duplex house with 2 families, and then the principal keeper's house. One of the families had 9 kids. The other 2 had 5, and each of them had their family outhouse. So with 3 outhouses and 19 kids living on the island, I just can't imagine what that was like.
Yeah, I mean, like free labor. That's what it was like. Like, hey, you guys gotta do all this. There are cobwebs in the house. Go get them. Like I'm not getting them this time around. That's great.
Well,
So
the other thing is, this was with the lighthouse service, and they had very strict rules of what needed to be cleaned, like the copper doorknobs had to be shined.
Sure.
So it was a lot of physical labor. Everything had to be spotless because they never knew when the superintendent was going to do an inspection.
A little audit.
Wow.
That makes sense. Interesting. So do you think the lighthouse is haunted? You think there are ghosts?
Well, the interesting thing is, because I'm so connected spiritually that I read energy. And so I feel energy on the island. And one of the reasons why I typically don't talk about things like ghosts is because I'm the historian for the Coast Guard. And a lot of people think that being psychics and things like that
it's not relevant.
Is hocus pocus and things like that. So I don't talk about that.
You don't condone it.
All I can tell is from my own experience. There's quite a lot of activity out there.
Okay. This is some off-pod conversation. I want to hear stories.
Well,
curious.
You have to remember now that we are now 306 years or so of people living out there, living and dying. The pets that they had, I presume at one time they probably had goats for milk. There wouldn't be enough grass there to support a cow. They probably had a donkey or horse
Yeah.
to lug the coal or wood from one end of the island to the other.
Yeah.
And just imagine having families. There must have been infants that passed away there,
Sure.
and
Some
pets,
dark
things
stuff.
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Are there any
So-
stories? Are there any
Pardon?
crazy stories of like lighthouse keepers going crazy, losing their
Yes.
minds?
Yes, there's
really?
a lot of that. And there's movies about that. There was
Yeah, I
one,
know.
a few years ago called
Yeah.
The Lighthouse Keeper, which was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Um,
But there are
so-
many stories. There are like a lot of accounts of lighthouse keepers kind of like, their loneliness got to them.
Yes, in fact, there's a lot of stories about those and documentation
Mhm.
of that.
It's
And
documented.
even there was I'm trying to think of Chronicle
Mhm.
back in the 1990s
Mhm.
did interviews of the 3 active duty personnel that were out there.
Mhm.
And they talked about ghostly experiences about that.
Wow.
And then there was an entity that had a series on ghost hunting,
Mhm, mhm.
and they came out into
That's so fun.
the keepers as well too.
That's fun. So did you what is the typical, I guess, in the past and the present, like how, I guess in the present, it's clear you kind of explained it, but in the past, how did a person become a lighthouse keeper? What was that like? What's the process of that?
The way that they did it during once we became the United States of America,
Mhm.
it was political. If your
Mm.
political alignment was whoever was president of the United States at that time,
Uh-huh.
then that's how you got appointed.
You
And it was
just
usually
ask
kind of-
somebody? You just like,
Hmm?
hey, I want to be a lighthouse keeper, and they just let you be a lighthouse keeper? Like, how does that work?
What would you do? You'd apply. You would
Okay.
you'd send the request to, it was the 5th auditor of the treasurer that
Mm,
was in charge of hiring and firing the lighthouse
Oh.
keepers. So
Yeah.
you'd send a letter to him and
Right.
say, I'd like to be a lighthouse keeper.
Here are my
Well,
qualifications, or
I've
whatever.
served in the Navy, or I've served in the Army, or what have
Mm.
you. And that's how you get chosen. So it was who you know, it was
Yeah.
all people. And so
It's
you
not-
never knew how long you were going to keep the job, depending upon, once again, who was in office.
It's all, a political thing. I think also I keep forgetting that it's a government entity. The lighthouse is run by
Yeah.
the government. But in my mind, I'm like, it's a private sector. Everyone is there just by job interviews. That's interesting. That's crazy. Yeah. So you missed the lighthouse, obviously, right?
Say again?
You missed you have
Oh,
feelings
I'm
of
so homesick.
when do you think you can go back?
Well, the Coast Guard brings me out when weather and sea conditions permit, and I'm actually scheduled to go out on Sunday
Okay.
to go out and
Ooh.
do runs and just check on things.
Nice.
Come the end of April, my boat, as I mentioned, I'm an auxiliarist and I have a boat, and we'll actually get Coast Guard orders to go out there. There's no dock out there. It's just the face of the pier. We tie the boat up across the pier, so if the water's calm, we can stay there for a couple of hours. If
Whoa.
it gets rough, we have to leave.
Whoa.
So once I get my boat, I'll be going out there, 2 or 3, 4 times a week and do
Nice.
routine maintenance.
When will you stay there? Like, do they just completely ban anyone staying there?
We can't, because there were severe storms in 2018, and the inspection that came up, because of an old place that had, if they found lead, they found asbestos, and they're saying, "What are you doing living here?" So that having the damage and having the inspection, it sort of closed the door, and that what precipitated the Coast Guard seriously thinking once again about finding a steward that knows how to take care of national treasures.
Sure.
Mhm.
The Lighthouse Tower is a landmark.
Mhm.
Of
And
course.
the island itself with the other buildings and what have you is that's a um
Protected.
yeah, I'm not recalling the name. So the island is a national park, and the tower itself is a
Mm.
national
Mhm.
Landmark.
icon.
Interesting. Have you been to other lighthouses? Do you like to travel and see other
Oh,
lighthouses?
that's what we do.
That's your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, we've driven all the way up to through the coast of Canada and what
Oh
have you. And
wow. Just checking
whenever
out
we
lighthouses.
travel, yeah, whenever we travel, if there's a lighthouse, we have to go find it.
Wow. Are there any lighthouses where in the world where people are just like living on the island
Yes,
still and just like
yeah,
for years on wow, that people are actually
yeah. I don't know if they're still on the islands, but there are still lighthouse keepers
Mhm.
in other countries. Just
Yeah.
just the one in the Ukraine
Mhm.
um that has it on one of the waterways there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when she said she was a lighthouse keeper, I don't know if she was a volunteer or
Yeah.
if she was paid by the government.
Yeah. That makes sense. Do y'all get Wi-Fi out there and like internet and like
That was the
TV?
hardest thing of all because no, there
Wow,
wasn't.
none.
We had
Did you
satellite
get a radio at
TV.
least? What about
You
a
have a
radio?
radio?
We have a 13,000-foot extension cord that comes out of the water. And right now Wi-Fi is a lot better than it was.
Okay.
But so initially there wasn't any connection, and that's
Sure.
why I was going to the mainland to the Coast Guard base to check my
Mm.
emails. And
Wow.
then when we got the wireless part, wasn't very reliable on the
Sure.
island, and I could get it like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
So my
Random.
supervisor would go into work in the morning and then email me and say, "What were you doing up at 3 o'clock in the morning sending us emails?" And it's because I was waiting
For the
for
service.
Kayakers to
Yeah.
allow that
Why
connection.
3 a.m.? That's so weird. Why that random time?
Well, because it has to do with the atmosphere's condition. At nighttime,
Oh,
the atmosphere actually goes out further, and then it
sure.
shrinks during the daytime with the heat of the
Wow. It like affects the
Interesting. Yeah.
it affects the connection. That makes sense.
yeah.
Weird. Have you ever had I'm sorry, I have a lot of random questions. Have you ever had anyone while you were there somehow stumble onto the lighthouse just out of from the sea? Any boats come through?
Well, the thing is, because it is so close to the mainland, it's just a
Oh,
mile
right.
away.
Yeah, they can just go
But
to
we get
mainland.
kayakers and
Mm, cool.
and so that's what makes me
Sailboats.
nervous about not being on the island, because we know they're going out there at night. We know
Yeah.
that they're
Mhm.
walking around. And when it was manned, I mean, we've hit people, in the middle of the night, and I
Yeah.
get dressed and go out into the flashlight. Say, "Excuse me, I'm trying
Yeah.
to sleep. Would you
Yeah.
like
Can
me?"
you leave? Yeah. I know this is a lighthouse, but I do need to sleep. Yeah.
So on the island, it has 6 buildings. So the
Mm.
lighthouse is a separate building unto itself.
Mhm.
Then we have the keeper's house,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
boathouse, a cistern building, which holds a cistern, which is a water
Mhm.
thing,
Mhm.
and it's I describe it as a swimming pool with a cover on it.
Mm.
And the building is very large, so that you could collect the most amount of water
Mm.
from rain or sleet or
That
whatever.
makes sense.
And that was our water supply. We didn't, we'd bring potable water, the 5 gallons water out to
Mhm.
Sure.
drink. But the reason why they initially had that 22,000-gallon
Yeah.
tank was because the fog signal was steam engine for many, many years.
Wow.
And it needed
Oh.
coal and
Yeah.
it needed water.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
And steam. That makes sense.
what is fun is there's still a lot of coal out there. They
What?
stopped
That's so
coal
cool.
in the 1950s. They changed to diesel fuel.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But
They
when you
shipped it
think
out.
of all the coal that was being dropped off on the west end of the island and had to be brought to
Brought
the
through the
east end,
end. Yeah.
and then all the shipwrecks. Why did we need a lighthouse out there? Because of shipwrecks.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
a lot of the shipwrecks were coal barges. So a lot of the coal
Mm.
was still get washed up from the shipwrecks.
Have you ever seen a shipwreck? Have you ever seen a shipwreck on your watch?
No.
Good. Yeah, great lighthouse keeper. One of the best.
That's why we have a lighthouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a lantern, like a classic lighthouse lantern that all the lighthouse people have in pictures? You know what I'm talking about? The handle?
Yeah, actually, I had one on the island and I brought it home and it's hanging in our porch now.
Oh, that's so cool. I want one. Those are so cool. Is it gas operated? Like how old is it?
No, it's
electric. Yeah.
This one, you put a candle in it.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's fun.
That is fun.
It's so like cartoonish, just like going out in the night, being like, "You kayakers, get out of here! This is my lighthouse." with your lantern, with your candle lantern. That's so fun. Crazy. What a fun life you live. It's so random. I just like what you do is so random to me, which is fun.
And the thing is that the Coast Guard reminds me that this is my legacy. This is closing down the Coast Guard's last manned lighthouse in the country when that transfer takes place. And I'm so humbled and so honored to be that, because I started my love affair with it when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
To see it go to a new owner, whoever it's going to be, that's going to know how to take care of it.
Yeah.
You
care so much.
The Coast Guard will still maintain the light at the top of the tower and the fog signal. But as far as all the other buildings and the grounds, it's going to get the proper care it needs.
Yeah, that's fair. God, we've just met, but I'm like so proud of you. It's so cool. It's like so fun. You know, Fernando, anything else on your mind? We start wrapping up.
Yeah,
I kind of just when you were on the island for like those 5.5 months, and let's say like just to decompress, or is there anything you would do just for fun? Like just,
like what do you do
when it wasn't like not regarding necessarily keeping the lighthouse, just like for you?
Well, that I loved doing that. It was like my hobby.
Okay.
And I'm a writer, so I did a lot of writing out there, and I read, and I literally talk to nature. I talk to the flowers in the garden and the grass and the muskrats and the water rats.
Yeah.
And one funny story is another woman was on watch with me, and the seagulls, for some reason, they like to fly around me. You know, as I'm walking around, they'll just be call, and then they go call.
Talk to them. Yeah.
And the woman came up to me and she said, "Sally, you really got to get up this island."
Gotta get a hobby, dude. This is too much. That is funny. You're just like you're just hanging out. You're just loving it out there.
Just vibing.
You're probably one of the few people who've worked on that lighthouse who like truly loved it. I feel like most people probably out there are just like, this is miserable. I'm so alone. There's no Wi-Fi. This is terrible, you know, but you're out there loving it. You're out there having a good time.
And so in the wrap up, what I'd like to say is what we're talking about is we're all beacons of light. We're all lighthouses. And for me, as a young child with stories being read to me about lighthouses and things like that, there's that spiritual piece that with the light being out there with this rays of light, 2 million candle power, it was like nothing could possibly harm me.
Yeah.
That I was protected by that. And then the metaphor of me being able to carry that forward.
Yeah.
To
other people in your life. Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love it. I'm gonna cry. That's beautiful. That's lovely. I have one more question. I mean, this is sort of, I guess, to wrap it up. I guess not the last question, but I do want to. I'm curious. Like, how was the light operated in the past? Was it oil based?
It started out with fish oil. With with candles, just
candles,
ordinary candle,
just like tons of like one big candle.
No, in 1716, it was a candelabra where it was 2 layered with 7 candles on each, and they hung that. And you're thinking today with all the background light, with all the city lights and everything, how would you ever see that? But imagine coming 3,000 miles across the Atlantic, and that would be the only light. That you see. Wow. And so that was a bright light. Nice. And then from there they went from fish oil to whale oil to
Mm.
cazola oil, which is a plant like from the
Based.
cabbage.
Yeah.
And then they got into the gasoline and the acetylenes. And then, of
Oh,
course, came the electricity
the bulb.
and
Yeah.
that 14,000 foot
Yeah.
cable
Wow.
of water.
Yeah. How often do you have to change out the bulb?
They will last for months.
Okay.
And
Super
they're extraordinarily expensive. They're something like $800 a piece, and they're only about this big.
Oh,
and it
what?
Gives off, and it gives off it's a 1,000 watt lamp
Oh
that
my
gets
god.
magnified to 2 million candle power.
Yeah. Is that like
Wow.
2 million lumens technically? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. That's so bright from one tiny bulb?
Yeah. And so at night when we go up there, you can't look directly into the light.
Oh yeah, no, you'll go
You're
blind.
blinded.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying there's only one small bulb up there? There's
Yeah.
And then
not.
it's
Yeah,
and then
is
it's fed through that,
crazy.
it feeds through that prism, I imagine, and then that
Yeah,
expands
the,
it.
the prism expands
Yeah,
it like
it's
crazy,
really-
right?
There's refraction and reflection. So the prisms go this
Mm.
way and this way.
Yeah.
So the light comes out, and there's what we call bullseyes. There's 12 of them. There's 12 panels to it.
Yeah.
So as the light rotates
Yeah.
and it comes into the bullseye,
Mm.
that 1,000 watt lamp gets magnified to 2 million candle powers.
Wow.
And the thing is, when I'm on the island, I see 12 rays,
Yeah.
a rotation of them. When you're
Oh.
on a boat or on the shore, all you see is a 10
One.
10-second flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a flash. Interesting.
Yeah, that's all you see is a flash.
But you see 12. Just
I see
rotating.
12,
That's
12
so
rays.
crazy.
12
Did you just have
12
blackout
beams.
curtains? Like in your bedroom, did you just have like blackout
How
curtains?
bright? Yeah.
to
How
keep
bright
the-
was
yeah,
it on the
keep the
island?
light off?
That's so interesting you should ask that, because one of the bedrooms faced the lantern room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And even with the Venetian blinds down, it was too bright for them.
Wow.
And so they would choose the other one. And
Yeah.
I loved that bedroom because I just lay in bed and be mesmerized by
By the
it.
light.
Wow.
But once I got hired, there was the master bedroom, the bigger one, which was also my office.
Okay.
So I didn't do that anymore. But if nobody was sleeping in that, the person I was with was in the other bedroom,
Mm.
I'd always go and lay on that bed for at least an hour or so
Like
and just
relax.
watch it go around. Talk about
That's so
Amazing.
cool.
going into a meditation.
Meditated
And you
state.
feel like it's a whole different dimensional thing when you're looking at it.
Yeah.
You have
It's
to
like
experience
unreal.
it. You can't
Yeah.
talk
It's,
about
I mean, it sounds like something I can't really experience unless I go to a lighthouse and
Mhm.
see for myself. Like what you're describing is like, I can't imagine any other circumstance where I'm like, oh yeah, like I have a giant beam of light just shining through my window.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's fun. That's great. Anything else in your mind, Brianna, before we ask the
No, I'm
final
good.
question?
I'm good.
Cool. Well, Sally, here's something we ask all of our guests, a little palate cleanser as we start wrapping up. Can you please describe your perfect day? I'm talking about your 24 hours. What are you doing? Who are you seeing? What are you eating? Just want to know, what is a perfect day for you?
A perfect day out of Boston Light is
Or whatever. And it can be
yeah,
anything. Yeah.
anything. Well, I'm going to go to Boston Light. because
Okay, yeah,
what
that's
makes
fair.
that amazing is that fog. When you're out there in the fog, it's you're in like a fairyland. So you wake up and there's this fog all around. You can't see the other end of the island. And then as the sun rises up and it starts, the fog starts dissipating, and you can see the movement of the fog. It's
So cool.
moving.
That's so cool.
And then come midday, it's all burnt off. The sun got a gorgeous red orange sunset, and then the beams just go out into the darkness, and it's just peace.
That's your perfect day. Just watching this. That's all you do all day. I love it. That's an amazing
So
perfect day.
sweet.
You're not even eating anything. You're just so mesmerized by the
Yeah.
light. You're so
Because
focused on
her nourishment comes from
Yeah,
that
from the
sunrise,
light.
sunset.
Hell yeah. You're so busy maintaining this lighthouse that you don't even have time to eat. That's an amazing perfect day. I like
Yeah.
it. Sally, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you,
This
Sally.
is great.
Oh, you're welcome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, I
course.
think our listeners are gonna love it, guys. If you are listening, you better love this. All right, because I find it to be just crazy. Just what a fun experience you've had. Thanks for listening, guys. Fernando, you want to start us off?
Guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.
You make no sense.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Man, what a fun app.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That was so
I-
cool. I feel
I
bad
really
about the 9/11
liked her
comment.
energy. I loved her
Yeah.
energy so much.
She's just on the floor, just
Yeah.
chilling.
She really just
So
loved
smiley.
lighthouses and
She
just
loves lighthouses.
yeah.
So sweet.
I just loved that she worked. She was a professor for a few years, and then she got offered a job, and I didn't realize it until later on. But I was like, oh, she jumped at that job.
Oh,
She-
yeah.
She jumped at the opportunity to be a lighthouse keeper.
Yeah. She probably honestly, we probably should talk to her about this, but she was like probably just working, being like, man, this is fine, but like I would love to just be on a lighthouse, just fucking
Yeah.
doing that. And then she got the opportunity. She's like, yep,
Yeah.
that's it. That's my dream.
Also, just the idea of like you have this dream, and then you finally like get it. You finally obtain that
Yeah.
dream and
Yeah.
accomplish it, and it is everything you want
You
it
want
to be.
it to be. Yes.
Yeah, because she sounded like it was. She was
So
like,
excited.
oh yeah, I love it. She even after all this time, she was still so excited about it.
And the way that like she finds like the metaphor behind it, like we are beacons of light. I'm like, that's so you're like doing what you love and also finding ways to like feel like it's good for humanity. Like it's amazing, you know?
Yeah,
Maybe it really did. Like I was tearing up thinking about it. I was
Yeah.
like, man, she's so happy.
yeah, real envious of her joy.
She does yoga.
Yeah, she does yoga. She spirituality.
Yeah, dude. I want to hear the ghost story. She probably has a lot of
Oh,
ghost
she was just
stories, dude.
vibing. Yeah,
You knew she had a bunch of ghost stories.
she couldn't get into them, but
I know, just so funny. With the Coast Guard, she probably talked a lot about ghost
Yeah.
stories, and the Coast Guard was like, "You need to chill. You need to stop." Oh man, but again, 9/11. I'm sorry I brought it up. I bring it up every episode. I felt bad. I knew when I said that, I was like, "This is not the audience. She's not gonna get it, dude."
if there's one good thing that came out of 9/11, it's that this woman got to be a
And
lighthouse
she gave me a
keeper.
pity laugh. She's like, "Huh," and I'm like, "This is rough." She works for the Coast Guard. I should have known she's a patriot. You know?
I mean, you can be a patriot and still make jokes about 9/11.
Can you though?
I think so.
Maybe.
You know,
Either way,
I'm a patriot, and boy, do I make fun of 9/11.
I don't know if I made fun of it. I was being realistic.
Art does make light of 9/11 pretty often.
Either way, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
She's a cool job. I will say, not for me. Very lonely out there. For sure.
Lighthouse, but I mean, it's not lonely because from what she was saying, there's a lot of volunteers, so you're chilling with them.
Yeah, every now and
You
then.
know?
Also, like that you live with a person, but it's like it's
It
gotta be
is-
scary at night, dude.
It didn't sound like she was totally by herself from what she was describing. It sounded like
Yeah.
because she said that the volunteers left, but she didn't say that they all left at once.
Yeah.
So maybe there was like waves of them.
She said there's like one person that stayed there with her, right?
Yeah, and then her husband came every weekend.
Yeah, it's like it's not that
You know?
lonely, but still like I feel like she probably was in her fucking world.
In her head,
dude.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
She's
I mean,
out
it's
there.
not something I could do. You're right. It's
Yeah.
something. It's not something I would be able to be capable of. I would fall apart.
Yeah.
I would mysteriously drown in the harbor.
Yeah.
But
I love how I asked like, has anyone died out of like, has anyone gone crazy from? And she's like, oh yeah,
oh yeah, all
there's
the
no
time.
doubt, all
Yeah.
the time, yeah,
Yeah.
like 90% of them.
She's like, yeah, they go crazy. Also, there are ghosts on the island, and I'm like, what?
She loves it, dude. She's like, yo,
Yeah.
these are my friends.
She's like, people have gone crazy. There
There
are
are
ghosts on the
ghosts.
island. Also, the first two lighthouse keepers died within
Died.
4 days of each other.
Yes.
So people go crazy on this island.
Well, she's so like nonchalant about it because you
Yeah.
know she loves it so much, like it doesn't bother her. She's just like,
Yeah.
I'm chilling, dude. I don't care.
No, yeah, no, I get it. Also, when she was describing, I was like, I feel like the way she's describing her love for this lighthouse is the way that I feel about the idea of sailing.
Yeah.
Just like looking out and seeing nothing but water just seems peaceful.
Yeah, totally. And just
Yeah.
like you're in the zone. You're just chilling.
Yeah.
You're doing your daily tasks.
I really wanted to ask her, but I knew I couldn't. Was because when she was talking about kayakers just showing up and like looking around, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm sure she stumbled across people just boning.
Oh, sure.
There's no way. There's no way you kayak out, you come across a lighthouse island, and then you're not bone. You're not boning on it.
That would not be my first thought. I think if I was kayaking and I ended up on a lighthouse, I would be afraid.
Guys, let's start a poll. Okay, email us.
What you would do.
Yeah, email us if you would bone if you were on a lighthouse island. You wouldn't even have to be dating the person. It wouldn't matter who you're with. You could be two heterosexual men. You are boning. You're boning on that island.
Yeah, lighthouses do carry a lot of sexual energy for sure.
I mean, they are phallic. They're phallic in nature.
So phallic. And the whole movie, The Lighthouse, is about that.
Mm-hmm.
God, such a good movie. Anyway, she's cool. I'm a huge fan of Sal. I really want to meet her. I want her to give us a tour. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. I also like that occasionally it was like the Massachusetts Boston accent would come out.
Yeah, come out. And you're
just
like,
that's
dude.
on A's. Whenever she said A's, I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how
Haba.
If you're out there at the Haba. She was like, I didn't think she'd be such I dare to say kooky. She's a little kooky, but she's fun.
She's very fun, very sweet. I love her so much.
I want her to be like my aunt or something.
Yeah,
you know.
I do want to hang out with her. Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to do yoga with her, dude.
Yeah.
I want to protect her. I feel so protective of her now, dude.
I feel like she can protect herself. She's living on this island. She's fucking chilling. But
I also love that she has a lighthouse lamp.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Lantern.
Yeah, she's a really cool lady.
Cool lady. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I don't know what else to say. We're gushing over her, dude.
Yeah, no, we both have crushes now.
Whoa, not me. I'm taken man.
He's taken, but he has a crush on this woman. Unfortunately, she is also taken. So
yeah, Sally Snowman.
What a cool woman.
A cool woman, cool name.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we do the pod. We talk to cool people.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, really fun episode. Really fun lady.
Great episode.
I'm happy we did it.
Every time you leave this episode being, I'm happy we did that, as if you're coming on begrudgingly.
I am always shocked. I do come on this podcast begrudgingly every single time. I do log in every single time, just angry I have to do this at all, and then afterwards I'm like, that was actually a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah. That describes mine and Art's relationship perfectly. Is I always begrudgingly talk to him, and then I'm like, I see why I talk to this guy because I do feel better. But going into it, I fucking resent him for making me talk to him.
Yeah, not even me, but like a person you never met.
Yeah.
Have no connection to.
Oh, specifically Art. Just Art. Yeah, I begrudgingly talk to Art, and then afterwards I'm like, I get it though. I get why I like him. But I forget every single time we initiate another conversation.
That's good. Well, I'm glad this is why you're coming back every time. Cool. Well, see you guys later, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll see you at be a lighthouse. Get out there and be a lighthouse. All right.
Later.
See ya.